It says going live. Oh, you're streaming me.
Yeah. Oh. Well, what else can I stream?
The blank page.
Oh, blank page. Okay.
You're streaming me.
Yeah. Oh. All right. There
Well,
it
what else can
is.
I stream?
The blank page.
Oh, blank page. Okay.
You're streaming me.
Yeah. Oh. All right. There it
All
is.
right.
There
Well,
it
what else can
is.
I stream?
Hey guys.
Blank page.
Oh,
Hey,
blank
Terry.
page. Okay.
Mute.
Hey
Streaming me.
Joel. Hey everybody.
Yeah.
Today. We are recording this meeting and simulcasting to Facebook and YouTube. I want to highlight two of our core values I feel are particularly relevant. People are more important than beliefs, and human hands solve human problems. Today we're going to have a couple of songs from David Dietz and Nikki Son. Our talk today will be given by Joel Burkholder. Today we'll have our main talk, and then we'll break into discussion groups and have some Q&A, and then one more song. Our musical guests today are David Dietz and Nikki Son. They both attend Shepherd School of Music at Rice University for their graduate degrees. David has performed solo works throughout the USA, and Nikki has composed works that have been performed throughout the United States, Europe, and Asia. So on that note, let's kick off this morning with two songs from Nikki Son and David Dietz.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So good to be back here. I've become maybe somewhat of a regular appearance here in person formerly, and now this is our second time virtually together. And so Nikki and I both are classical musicians by trade. That's what we do at school at Rice every day. We're playing really serious, intense music. So whenever we have the opportunity to do something a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun, we really enjoy that. We like to take that opportunity because we're not such serious people. And we enjoy tons of music that we call music bubble. So this morning we've got some songs from life that both of us really, really enjoy. And we were playing around with and decided to put our own little spin on them. And I don't think we even need to introduce these songs. These are some that all of you will know instantly. So we're going to play two right now, and then we'll come back at the end for a third. So thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. That was just gorgeous. Thank you, Nikki and David. We look forward to hearing from you later in our gathering. Now we're going to introduce our main speaker. That was just gorgeous. It's Joel Burkholder. Nikki and David. Joel is the production manager and technical director for stages in Houston, Texas. Now we're going to introduce Joel was just recently a part of the design committee for Houston's newest theater complex, the Gordy. The Gordy campus houses 3 performance spaces where Stages produces theater in-house. As production manager and technical director, Joel collaborates with artists and realizes designs from page to stage while managing the budget, labor, and timeline for every performance. Joel attended Springwoods High School, then Texas Tech University, where he studied theatrical design and production. Joel's production credits extend through the state. He's worked with theatrical as well as musical groups, managing productions for Randy Rogers, Turnpike Troubadours, Wheeler Brothers, and more, including Super Bowl 17. Joel is an Eagle Scout and an expecting father come March of 2021 with his wife, Lauren. Congratulations. I'm very proud to introduce my former student, friend, and incredibly talented human, Joel Burkholder.
Thank you, Terry. That was so sweet. Thank you so much. That was beautiful music. I miss live music so much. Oh my gosh, it's a treat. Well, I think I kind of want to just take everyone through a journey of producing theater through a pandemic, because after all, I think every individual person has had their own unique experience through this kind of unprecedented time. And I'll start by kind of introducing you to Stages. It's a nonprofit organization. We just opened up a new building called the Gordy, houses 3 different performance spaces. And our mission is to make plays and tell stories that invite everyone to live more deeply and love more boldly. We hold up a mirror to our community in order to crack open the question, what does it mean to be human? And I myself have found just a deep connection with our staff and the people that we work with. And our leadership is so centered around people. And one of our taglines is people make theater. And if this situation hasn't been more proving than that, that we can hang on to all of our staff while trying to continue to do what we do. And what we do is gather people into a space, and we can't do that right now. So doing it virtually was the next step. One of the things, we had many different events, virtual events. We're not filmmakers or video people, or we weren't at the time. And then we have all kind of adjusted and shifted and tried to create events, tried to create productions and films to keep all of our patrons engaged. And one of the things that I'd like to kind of walk you through is I'm going to share a video. It's a tour of our brand new theater. And we actually created this for a virtual event for our young patrons. And bear with me as I attempt to be technically savvy.
We don't hear the sound, Joe.
Well, sorry guys. The sound doesn't seem to be working with the share.
So when you hit share, you have to say optimize for video.
Yeah. Let's try this one more time. Hi, my name is Joel Burkholder. I'm the production manager and technical director here at Stages. I'm going to give you a backstage tour of all of our technical systems and back of house operations. Well, hello. Welcome to the scene shop. We've got a loading door direct from the parking garage, which is really fantastic. I can kind of talk you through some of the workflow in the scene shop. We've got a pretty long, narrow shop. Material comes in off the racks onto the table saw or the CNC machine and gets sized, and then moves further into the shop where we have the dual chop saws, and things can get chopped down and then moved into the main assembly area in front of our loading door where the rolling tables are, and then everything moves into that center area, or the main assembly area, and gets painted and moved into the theaters. The other half of the shop is the metal shop at the far end, where we have all the metal storage on the walls, and that gets chopped down with a cold cut machine, which is great, cold cut saw, and a couple of welders, so we can have a couple different people moving at the same time. And that moves into the center of the shop as well, gets ready for paint, and moves into the theaters. So the other thing is that we took advantage of the vertical space that we have, like these mezzanines. We put these mezzanines in for storage, get the dust collection system up and out of the way, get the air compressor up and out of the way, caster storage, all of our small components, platforms, flats, doors. We got forklift carts that we can lift them all up and bring them all down. So all of our scenery has been built. It's been assembled. It's been painted. We have this great large opening, we have a great coil door. It's like 16, just almost 16 feet tall. We found that out the hard way. It's 1 inch below. And then we can take all of our scenery straight through this door into our loading door. So we've got element door, loading door. This is a firewall as well, but it's an STC, high STC rating and fire door. And this will take us straight in to the starting stage. So here we are on the starting stage. This is a thrust configuration theater where there's audience on 3 sides. We've also got a balcony. And some of the fun things about this room from a technical standpoint is we have our balcony rail for lighting positions and speaker positions, which is around the face of the balcony. You can see it behind me. And then we've got line sets up here. They're all motorized line sets. We have 9 of them. They travel about 16 feet per minute, so they're slow, but they're consistent, and they lift a lot of weight. Something about a motorized line set instead of a typical counterweight line set is that our walls are now freed up on either side of the wings, and so we don't have a wall full of pin rail for a counterweight system. So they're motorized, so we can run things up and down, such as lights or scenery. Another thing about this space is the catwalk system that you'll see here in a second. That allows us to hang lights from the rails underneath the catwalks from the unistrut and all the way around the perimeter as well. The control room is here behind me. That's where you'll find like the stage manager, the lighting operator, the sound operator, or show control operators. We'll step into there here in a second. And these here entrances, where in our theater are patron entrances. Oh, I don't need my mask for all of this. boxes. Here in the wings of either side, we have AVBs, audio video boxes, and stage lighting boxes. And this is largely just the wires inside of the walls. So to get a light to turn on from here and controlled from here to the booth, it's all the wiring's inside of the walls, opposed to our old stages. Another thing is, you have comm back here, so stage management can be backstage, or assistant stage management can be backstage communicating with stage management. Video feeds, all of that is integrated in those boxes. Another great thing, the back of this wall is all plywood, so we can use the heck out of it, which is great. We've got unistrut buried in the wall, so we can use the heck out of that, hang lights, hang pipes, whatever we want to add to that. Another thing that we've got throughout the building actually is compressed air and water. Who'd have thought, right? But inside this box, we can hook up, we've got compressed air that's run by the compressor in the shop, and we've also got water if we need to do any tricks on stage. So let's go into the control rooms. From the VOM, you enter a sound and light lock, or an SLL, sound and light lock. It closes the sound in. We've got sound absorption on all the walls and these STC rated doors. Staff only. It's okay, So here we are in the Sterling control room, walking up our wheelchair ramp, our ADA accessible control room, which was really great addition to our workflow. And this is where the stage management would work, lighting operators, sound operators, video operators, any of the liking. This is also where we prep all of our microphones that the actors may wear. For some shows, sometimes they'll be wearing mics, sometimes not. And we've got SCC rated windows, and they're double pane, so you can't hear the stage manager back here screaming their head off whenever you're sitting right in front of them. It's great. And they're tinted, so you don't see so much in here. Also connected to the control room is our open mix position, which is where the sound operator will actually be. I said sound operator in there, but the sound operator's in here. And so this is our open mix position so that the sound operator can have their ears in the room and listening to what you are listening to when you're watching a show. Here we are in the Levitt stage. This is a little bit different than the Sterling stage. It's the second of 3 theaters we have in the Gordy. And something unique about this space is that it is totally flexible. There's 17 different configurations. It's a black box style. There's acoustic drapes surrounding all the audience. Removable platforms so that the stage and the audience can change between what is currently a thrust, could be an arena, or could be a proscenium, could be a corner stage, limitless possibilities. And there's a 5x5 pipe grid above us. It's about 11 feet clearance to the pipe grid, so the ceiling is lower, but it feels very intimate. Some cool stuff about the technical systems in here. It actually started out in the design phase to be just an empty box with really no infrastructure. But luckily, throughout the project, we were able to make some additions, such as lighting system. So we got dimmers. We got 96 dimmers in here that are actually run through the walls and not temporary cable running all over. And we've got a little bit of audio infrastructure, some connectivity. We've got air and water, again. And we've got pipe grid to hang all of the lights from. And then there's acoustic drape that circles the entire room where we can move our paneling, move the soft good paneling wherever we want. This is the scenery from Honky Tonk Laundry. As you may have been aware of, we had to close down due to COVID the day of opening night, and we're just really looking forward to coming back. We haven't touched it. It is frozen in time and ready for everyone to come back and enjoy it. We're in the Smith stage now. This is the tension wire grid. This is the technical level where all of our lighting fixtures are hung. A couple of cool things are all of this tension wire that's below me is all walkable, is all very safe. It's really convenient to teach interns up here. They can stand right next to you and you're sitting right in front of the light. You can get to any side of it. There's a lot of benefits to having this tension wire grid, and you can shoot right through it. And in most cases, you don't get a pattern of shadow. Also, all of the lighting pipes that are up here, aside from the verticals, all of these pipes are temporary and they're all flexible. Other cool thing that's up here are in both theaters is we have beam trolleys. So we can actually hang motors or scenery or whatever, who knows. And these, we can roll our trolleys along these beams for the rigging and get them exactly where we want them, and then move them along the beam if we need. We've got a motor hanging up over there that we use actually to lift and install the sculpture that was in the air from Water by the Spoonful. And then also very easy to load out because you just hook it up to a motor and we can lower it down. On to the Sterling. As you can see, this here is actually a cable pass. So we can get cable to and from any room that's mostly throughout the building without having to prop doors open. So you just pop through the wall. And in here is actually a company switch for the tech level. So if we need added power, we need to add motors or dimmers, anything like that, we've got 100 amps at 208. So that provides the entire building. We've got a few of those throughout. And this just quick little crossover actually leads to what we call, this is the high castle. Why? I don't know. But this is where all of our lighting storage is. All of our cables, our workbenches, things like that. Still getting this outfit, but it's getting pretty close. And then this goes directly to the tech level of the Sterling. And out here, we have catwalks instead of a tension wire grid like we have in the arena or in the Smith. Out here, we actually have we've got a system of catwalks that are over the audience and over the stage. And that allows us to hang lighting fixtures such as this from our lighting positions that can actually move up and down as well. Over this way is our spotlight operator position. And so there's a little ramp here, drops down. We can remove these pipes and it becomes a spotlight operator position. And so they can run spot. And we actually had 2 spots for the Fantastics. And this position actually allows you to get someone head high all the way to the back wall, as well as somebody head high at the front edge of the stage. Boy, is that a trek. I didn't write this down the stairs. Well, guys, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed giving you a tour virtually of the Gordy. I really appreciate all your support. Everyone on staff does. And I can't wait until we can come back together again and do this in person. Okay, everyone heard that, right? So that was a lot of fun to film with our marketing team. They had a blast. We were also, that was coming back from being on remote work for about 2 months. And so everything was kind of eerie, frozen in time when we got back in the building. So yeah, I think, sorry, I think I just want to open it up, honestly, right now. If anyone has any questions about maybe what I do or what Stages does or the building, how we have been kind of shifting and moving through this pandemic. If you do have any questions, like feel free to drop them in the chat or on the Facebook stream. And I'll just kind of keep talking away. So it started back, like I said in that video, opening night of Honky Tonk Laundry. We had 2 preview performances, and then we got the notice that, all right, here we go. We're gonna shut down for 14 days. And 6 months later, we're still trying to figure out how to reopen. It's pretty wild. It was like playing hopscotch. You know, every day is something a little different. You think you have a plan for a week, for 3 weeks, and then the next day shift and move. We our typical production process runs about 22 weeks. So from initial creative team engagement, when we start making offers to artists, to opening night is about 22 weeks, and sometimes less, sometimes more. But you can imagine not knowing what's going to happen in 3 weeks, what that does to a production process. You know, we're kind of building a bicycle while riding it. And so the things that we had to, we wanted to continue to engage with patrons and continue to do our work and keep all of our staff employed while also trying to engage actors. We did a number of virtual engagements, such as like play readings on Zoom. We did a full play actually that was going into a tech rehearsal before the shutdown. And that tech rehearsal it was the day before tech. And if you're not familiar with theater process, the technical rehearsal is when all of the designers and all of the actors and the director all come into the room for the first time and start using the tools that they have to create the art on stage. Kind of putting all the rehearsal, all the work that the cast has done in rehearsal, putting it on stage and lighting it and putting it with all the designer's work, combining it. So we were going into the next day was going to be a tech rehearsal for a play called Sensitive Guys. That play largely had, I think it was 6 actors. And we, had this amazing story that the company and the actors and the directors have been working for almost a month and a half on. And we still wanted to tell that story. We still wanted to get this story out. And this was right at the beginning, before anyone was really comfortable with Zoom, I think. There was a lot of kind of commotion about what does digital content mean, and there's really no way to monetize it, to like support the actors that are performing. So it was a really interesting daily change, and we ended up landing with the idea of, we're just going to do this play on Zoom. So the playwright, we engaged MJ Kaufman, the playwright, and they rewrote the script to be in Zoom, and took it. It was a college. It was actually a story about that involved Rice University in some ways, and there were students that were on Zoom, engaging with other students on Zoom, engaging with professors, engaging with administrators. All these different characters was all through Zoom. And the video designer, took each person's tile and, storyboarded with like choreographing, like maybe all the actors need to have this vast distance, like they're in a large room, like they would have blocked it on stage. Everyone was spread out. But in Zoom, they took all their tiles and then put them in all the opposite corners, and kind of use that as a lens to tell stories, and draw focus where it needed to go. So it was certainly a new tool that everyone really adapted to quickly, and it's a whole new control on how you tell a story. So that was Sensitive Guys. And so we did the play, we put it on Zoom, we kind of engaged the artists. We're like, we got 2 weeks. We're just going to try it and see what happens. If it doesn't work, if the story doesn't play right, then oh well, but let's just try it. And so we went for it. And after the second rehearsal, they were like, yes, we're doing this. This is 100% going to happen. They were ready for it. So we did it. And then while doing that, we also filmed a documentary. So we were able to release a documentary about that process of creating a play. And then we put on a one-woman show that was called Woman of the World. And we chose to do a one-woman show largely because of she could perform it socially distant. This was a unique experience because this actress was willing to come to stages and sit in a room by herself. We set all the cameras up, we press record, and we leave the room, we sanitize and leave, and then she would come in and film in front of a set. Well, what happened is we couldn't engage the union to allow us to have a contract with an artist to come on site. The Actors Equity Union would not grant us a contract to have anyone come on site and leave their home. So we pivoted and thought, well, let's bring the production to you. You stay at home. We'll bring a set to your house. We'll put a couple flats up behind you, bring some lights, and make it happen all in your home. We'll bring the production to you. And so that was the plan. Moving forward with that plan for a couple of weeks, we measured a room, we measured the staircase to, how big can we make stuff to get it in there. And then her husband had underlying health conditions, and we decided that it wasn't going to be safe for us to enter your room, bring people into your house. So let's just try and keep this totally separate. Well, her daughter, who we had all had a relationship with her family, her entire family. She's been around stages forever. And her daughter actually offered to help somehow. Like, can I help, set up a camera, set up all the lights or whatever, and we can just film it in her house. And so we were like, okay, well, we'll deliver everything and give you a green screen, and then we'll build the set at stages. And so we photographed the set that was at stages that we were going to put in her house. So we just photographed it, put her on a green screen. Her daughter set up all the camera equipment, set up all the lights, set up the mic. And she sent us some pictures of her room, and it was a film studio. It was pretty amazing. And so she filmed that. We did the one woman show. That was Woman of the World. And then after that, we had this idea that maybe we could come back together again. Maybe we can start to bring artists, or maybe we can start to bring patrons into our building and stay socially distant. So we went through myriad of scenarios. We brought in, we were thinking of bringing in like couches and do it like a cabaret style performance on stage. So all the patrons could come in, sit down in like socially distant couches, cabaret tables, different, fun furniture, spread it out on stage, and have the artists inside of a studio. So there'd be a plexiglass wall. They could take their mask off and still perform safely. Patrons could enjoy a live performance again. But through all the different conversations, we ended up nixing the idea of having patrons on site. It just we still weren't quite ready for it. And though many of our patrons are like banging at our door, like, please, 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 we want to see theater. So we ended up just doing our studio sessions. It was called Stages Studio Sessions. It was about 8 weeks. Every week was a new artist. And we just asked artists to come in and just perform your story, whether it be song, whether it be dance, whether it be monologues, spoken word. We had just 8 different artists come in and tell their story and play their music. And it was a really, truly amazing experience, because everyone that we engage with on the daily prior to this situation had no one knew how to do any of the things that they were doing, and everyone adapted and everyone shifted. And the silver lining is now we're all so much stronger, because you now, like, we all have this skill of producing a film. Like, really, it's pretty, it's the silver lining for sure. But that had just closed. This past weekend was our last studio session. And it gave artists a platform to perform. And I think we're probably definitely going to bring it back in March, maybe with a live audience, maybe not. We'll see. But it's certainly something that a lot of our patrons and a lot of our staff and just the artists that we engage with are just it's so healing to be able to have like a cathartic release of a performance again, so yeah, that's certainly going to be coming back. And then the Honky Tonk Laundry set that you saw on stage in the Levitt, that is actually going to be a live stream. So we're going to turn everything back on, set up 4 cameras, for remote PTZ cameras. So there's no operators in the room. Create a very safe environment and just do a live stream, because we have so many people that have already bought tickets to that show, and they want it. We got to engage. So that's kind of our next shift. And yeah. Oh, I see a question. There's a question about how many staff. We have 38 staff members. And something that's interesting, the way we're able to balance the budget, honestly, is because of all the contracts that we no longer engage. We usually hire about 1,800 artistic this season. And so if we're not performing live theater, we're not engaging those contracts.
Joel.
Yes.
Hey. Wow. Okay. What we do now, usually, first of all, the amazing resilience of stages, literally opening a theater and then having to shut it is amazing to me. And y'all's work, I had no idea of all of the elements that are going along backstage. Before we're going to go to question and answer, but we're going to break into discussion groups. This gives us a few minutes to talk to one another and come up with questions, and about 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back and do Q&A with you. So we're going to break out into breakout rooms. You can hit join if you like. If you don't want to, you can get some coffee or whatever you might need to do. And Facebook, and we'll be back. It's time to post your questions into the chat or on Facebook Live. So we'll see you in 5 minutes.
5-10 minutes or so. Yes, you should be getting the prompts now. shortly.
I always feel like Tron traveling through the internet when I go to the breakout room.
Are we back?
Go.
Welcome back,
I always
everyone.
feel like Tron traveling through.
I hope you had a great time visiting with everyone and catching up. It's really important that we get to see each other face to face and at least chat about our lives. Joel did such a good job telling us about the new theater that I was amazed that a lot of questions were, how do we get to come see productions and stages? That was the first thing that came up. And if you could put the email to get on to the the season list or whatever on Facebook, we would really, on the group chat, we'd really appreciate it, and we can make sure it goes to Facebook too.
Okay.
We'd also like the group contact information because Oasis wants to start going as a group. So we're very excited. So one of the questions were, are you testing? I know you were wearing masks, but are there people in the building? And are you testing?
There are people in the building. We're engaging with the Screen Actors Guild. So our actors are on SAG-AFTRA contracts. And we're actually required to test 3 times a week. And that's for anyone that is in Zone A. And they define Zone A as the perimeter that you're operating in with an actor when they're not wearing any PPE.
Wow.
So yeah, 3 times a week.
3 times a week?
Yeah, we go to the George R. Brown Convention Center, and they've got it set up to kind of, it's pretty streamlined. You're in and out pretty quick. It takes longer to drive there than it does to actually get the test. Amazing operation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is the lineup for this season? What are y'all doing?
Well, we are going to be doing Honky Tonk Laundry Stream, and then we're going to actually start filming our panto. If anyone's seen a panto before, this is going to be the first ever panto movie. It's going to be Buttons' Sleeping Beauty. I think the actual title is like Buttons' outrageous, hilarious pandemic version of Sleeping Beauty or something like that. I can't remember the title. And then that's it until Christmas. And then after the holidays, we are still planning. We still haven't set everything in stone. We're probably going to bring back the studio sessions. We're looking at doing The Giant Void in My Soul. We're looking at doing Black Superhero Magic Mama. We're looking at doing The Cost of Living. And I believe another catechism with Sister, if anyone's ever familiar with Sister, she's great. And so that's kind of, we're still playing around with how we're going to do that, virtually or in person. But yeah.
Yeah, one of the questions was about, besides the union, what are influences on how you can stretch your adaptations to meet reality? Like, how do you come up creatively with all that? And who does it with you? Who do you work with on that? Because that's a huge
every project is different. And I think that's what's really unique about our staff is that we're used to shifting and moving and pivoting on the daily for regular productions. And so, we add this in, and it's just kind of like another challenge that we shift on. And we engage in terms of the union. We engage with SAG-AFTRA. Currently, we're equity bargaining house. So we do engage with Actors Equity Association, but they are not releasing contracts, and we're not doing any live performances. So that puts us into the SAG world. And so they actually have a full rule book that we have to abide by. And they they inspect our facility and all of that. So we're under a microscope for sure. But in terms of creatively, we have a place selection committee that's kind of a conglomeration of any of the staff that wants to join the play selection committee. This is the second year we're doing it, second season that we're doing it. And it's largely to share a leadership style across the company. Whether you work in the call center, or whether you work in the prop shop, or whether you work in development, you can join the play selection committee. And they meet every other week, and they talk about what are we going to do, what are we going to produce, what plays. In a normal environment, it's creating the lineup for the next season. And I must say, if we didn't actually have this play selection committee, there would only be 2 or 3 minds. But now we have a play selection committee where there's 14 minds that are thinking about creative ways we can engage with our audience. And because they already meet regularly, once the pandemic rose, they just took another step, and they're like, okay, now we're going to think about how we're going to produce this way. How can we produce that way? And they're a bunch of really creative problem solvers as well.
It's pretty amazing, all the choices and all the exciting things you're doing. And I don't know, the virtual thing is nice. It'll be nice when we can combine these things back again after the pandemic. This is a personal question to you, Joel. Yeah. I was totally impressed with the design of the Gordy. Totally. Okay. It's amazing. I want to know what you had to fight the hardest for.
Oh my goodness.
I know there's more than one thing, but
it's genuinely a once in a lifetime experience. And let's see, there were a lot of things. And I don't consider myself to be that stubborn, but I had some stubborn things. Probably the size of our scene shop. The original space planning. I entered the project after they had done the 50% design documents, and so they kind of we're at 50% now of our design, which is basically just how much square footage do we need for this to function? How much square footage do we need for that to function? And just kind of like a bunch of boxes, like Tetris kind of, how do we fit it inside of this plot of land? And so that was really initially amazing, to just jump into a document that is of that scale. And it was amazing how detailed it already had been. But they didn't plan enough room for the scene shop. If you're familiar with the old space, the stages had about an 18-foot by 18-foot footprint. Our new theaters were about 60% larger, both like in a 3-dimensional space larger. The ceiling is 21 feet, whereas in the old building, if you were ever in the arena theater, the ceiling was only 9'6". And so everything gets taller, everything gets wider. There's like physically, it takes 60% more material to create an environment in the new spaces, which means we needed more space to build things. And they had originally planned for 600 square foot shop, and now it's 750. And I pushed really hard for that 750, or for that extra 150 square feet. I think that was the biggest fight I fought.
Well, I'm very proud that you have a safe place to stand on when you're in the technical levels.
Yeah.
That metal grid.
Our safety is way better. We're a much safer operation.
Well, do we have any other questions? Does anyone want to unmute themselves and ask Joel a question? Or just put your hand up and Abhishek can do that?
Yeah, I was curious because obviously your old location was like right across the street. So when the Gordy, and that's really hard real estate up in there, right? Like that seems like a very high demand area. So was it important to kind of stay in that area? Was there a bit of a neighborhood feel in terms of trying to locate the new theater, or did it just happen to work out that it was right across the street where you guys
Totally.
could build?
You nailed it. The neighborhood community is very supportive of stages, and so staying as close as we could to that area meant a lot. And before the Gordy, it was Museum of Fine Arts archival facility was in that warehouse, and through powers that be that I'm not familiar with, they had acquired that land from the Museum of Fine Arts. And funny enough, when the hurricane hit, we had just bought that building, and then Hurricane Harvey hit, and the Alley Theater had just remodeled, and they got totally flooded. And all of their prop storage, all of their assets were in floodwater. And so the Museum of Fine Arts archival facility went to being owned by Stages, but it was an empty building because we hadn't started the project yet. And so then it went into a prop restoration facility for the Alley Theater. And we were actually rehearsing Xanadu inside of that warehouse, the version that we took to Miller Outdoor Theater. And so they actually brought all their props in, and there was a full restoration of all of these. I mean, like amazing historic props, because their collection is vast. And they were able to retrieve most of it, if not all. Well, not all of it, but yeah, that was interesting to watch, that transition. And then right after the hurricane, actually, we started the project.
I have a question. I'm trying to guess how many, I don't know, comparable theaters, state-of-the-art theaters there are scattered around Houston. I was asking the people in my small group if they're familiar with the Queensbury Theater out in Town and Country, and neither of the guys was, but I know it's really new, and I think it's pretty up to date. They had a lot of money to work with. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So how many really nice theaters are there around the city that maybe people don't know about?
We're the newest. There's Queensbury, which Queensbury is a presenting house. They don't really have like a production facility to build scenery necessarily. And then there's Match. If anyone's familiar with Match, Midtown Arts Theater Center of Houston, I believe is what it's called. And they have, I think it's 4 different theater spaces, and they're a presenting house as well. So smaller theater companies will rent out a performance space at the Match. And the Match is cool. It's like a buffet of entertainment.
Yeah.
If you've ever been, like, you get there and it's just like you're walking through the shopping mall of theater. It's so cool. Or just live entertainment. And then there's Main Street Theater. They're not as new. I don't think their project wasn't as expensive. They remodeled. And then there's the Alley. But like, then there's a bunch of like smaller theaters. We're probably the only mid-size theater between like Main Street, Queensbury, and then the Alley. We're kind of in that middle tier.
And that doesn't even count the college, the high schools and colleges, does it? Doesn't Terry have a pretty good setup coming sometime soon? Or don't you have a pretty good, no?
What?
Your theater.
Oh yeah, we're doing a Christmas Carol outside.
Oh, wow.
On the outdoor stage. There's a new outdoor stage in the middle of the cafeteria, and we are going to do Christmas Carol second week in December outdoors. With masks and social distancing. So it should be interesting.
Wow.
At least that's the plan right now. We'll see.
I saw something in the paper.
Yeah. Amarette, did you want to ask your question out loud? That would be nice.
Will all your upcoming shows be on live stream? As of now, yes. We were doing pre-recorded content for the studio sessions. That was a crazy schedule. We would film Monday and Tuesday. Basically, we'd do 2 takes of the entire performance. It's a 1-hour show. And then we'd have Wednesday to edit and post, and Thursday to upload, and Friday it was online. And then it would be online for 3 days. So it'd be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That
Wow.
was a roller coaster. I don't think we were just moving so fast into that production that I didn't really register exactly how fast we were going to have to do things until we had to start doing them because it's kind of a first time thing. So yeah, that was wild. But everything, yeah, from here forward, now that we are engaged with SAG, they will be live streamed for Honky Tonk Laundry. And then Panto will be, we're still trying to figure that out, whether it's a live stream or whether it's, well, it's not a live performance. It is a film. Like we are filming a movie for Panto. And then we're going to put it online for either like nightly tickets, and you buy a ticket for each night that you want to watch it. You get a link, and you can watch it at home, or it'll just be online for a span of 2 weeks, and you just buy a ticket for any on-demand moment.
Oh, nice.
So
You mentioned you were mid-sized.
yes, sir.
Would a large theater have more technology than you have? I can't imagine, but what would they have that you don't have in terms of capabilities within the space, or just more space?
It's the biggest difference is the more space. In terms of the technology, we're all updated. We've got the same software pretty much. We operate on our lighting console. Same. We have probably a better sound console, not to tout. And then from there forward, the biggest difference is going to be automation, scenic automation. We don't have a scenic automation package per se, but we do a lot of scenic automation. We kind of backyard engineer it, whereas the Alley Theater, they have 7 Creative Connors scenic automation units. So, and when I mean scenic automation, it's a motor that moves scenery, whether it's up, down, spinning around, pushing, pulling. They've got a much deeper inventory of automation.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joel. That's probably all the time we have.
Of course, you're welcome.
But wow, I just can't wait to see the
That's
virtual
great.
things, and I can't wait until stages can open again and we can go in your beautiful new space. So I just wanted to remind and thank you, Joel, and congratulations on the upcoming birth of your new baby.
Thank you.
So I'm so excited. I want to remind everybody that early voting starts and that you need to be sure to get your vote in and be heard, please. Before we leave, we have one final song from Nikki Spahn and David Dietz. We are going to post the link to donate and sign up for our weekly newsletter in the chat below. While we are no longer meeting in a physical space, we are still paying our musicians and still have some fixed expenses, and anything you might like to donate would be appreciated. So if you like what we're doing and you're able, please consider donating. And with that, we will have one final song from Nikki Spahn and David Dietz.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks so much for having us back. This was a lot of fun this morning. And as she said, we've got one last song for you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David and Nikki. I think that we all had a little bit of moment where we can think about wanting our whole new world that's COVID free, where we can all be together again. And we'll look forward to that. Beautiful selections today, just beautiful. And thank you very much. Oh my.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining us today. Special thank you to Joel Burkholder and Nikki Spahn and David Dietz. Tonight, be sure and join us for another Corona conversation at 8 p.m. with Drs. Richard Andrews and Dr. Will Judy. Keep an eye out for our future emails, Facebook posts, meetup, however you keep in contact with us for our future gatherings. And have a great week and stay safe out there. Bye.
Tonight, we will discuss a very famous patient.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
Who could that be, I wonder?